This is the QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. President Adama Barrow presented new vehicles through the Minister of Justice to the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons and the Director of Public Prosecution. The Health Directorate of the Ministry of Health, with support from the World Health Organization, commenced 2 days training on health research ethics on Wednesday. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with WHO, on Thursday organized a symposium on antimicrobial resistance AMR and launched the Gambia's AMR's Technical Working Group. The Oyster Value Stakeholder Advisory Committee held a day-long market study validation on the Gambia program for the sustainable development of fisheries and aquaculture value chains. In international news, in yet another attempt to bring to an end the ongoing political crisis in Senegal, ECOWAS representatives at the opening session of the ongoing AU Executive Council meeting in October. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. This is QTV United News and I am Andy Kema. President Adama Barrow presented 3 new vehicles through the Minister of Justice to the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons, NATIP, and the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP. The vehicles, 2 of which are for NATIP, are procured by the government through the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. Aliu Cisse reports.
The 2023 U.S. State Department's Trafficking in Persons Global Report ranked the Gambia in Tier 2. It stated that the Gambia, like Senegal, Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya and Cabo Verde, among others, did not fully meet the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking, but is making significant efforts to do so. The government demonstrated overall increasing efforts compared with the previous reporting period, the report stated. Human trafficking represents a threat to international peace and security as it undermines the rule of law and robs millions of their dignity and freedom. Recognizing the critical role of the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons, NATIP, coupled with the challenges affecting its operations, President Barrow is hoping these new vehicles will ease mobility for the beneficiaries.
To thank the Minister of Finance because he is committed. That's why he released these funds for us to purchase a vehicle for NATIP and for the Director of Prosecution. For one simple reason, because the NATIP is a very important institution, but it cannot function without resources. They need resources, they need mobility to make sure that they are able to function as we expect. And we all know about irregular migration, trafficking in person. These are very, very serious crimes. And our partners definitely they always expect us to, at the end of the year, to send them reports based on what we are doing. And if we are not resourced, we are not mobile, definitely we cannot meet up their expectation. And also to address crimes in this country. So that's why we are all together to make sure that we provide them with these brand new vehicles, so that they can do their job effectively.
Dauda A. Jallow, the Gambia's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, welcomed the intervention as timely.
These 3 vehicles, the 2 vehicles, the pickup will be the operational vehicle for the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons, and this other salon car will be the vehicle for the Executive Secretary. The 3rd vehicle is for the Director of Public Prosecution, whom you've just appointed a couple of months ago. The Ministry of Justice is very grateful to Your Excellency. These vehicles will go a long way in helping us to discharge our mandate.
President Barrow reinforced his government's commitment to reducing crime in the country by providing the needed resources to enhance the work of those entrusted with the task. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Cisse.
The Health Directorate of the Ministry of Health, with support from the World Health Organization, commenced 2 days training on Wednesday on health research ethics at a local hotel in Senegambia. Loy M. Kamara attended and filed in this report.
World Health Organization's benchmarking tool, jointly developed by WHO's Regulatory System Strengthening, Regulation and Safety Unit, and the Health Ethics and Governance Unit. It is intended to assist countries in evaluating their capacity to provide appropriate ethical oversight of health-related research. In addition to assisting in capacity-building efforts, the tool is intended to promote policy convergence and best practices in research ethics oversight, to enhance public trust in health research, and to ensure that the rights and safety of humans involved in health-related research are adequately protected. At the opening of this two-day training, Dr. Desta Tureni, the WHO country rep, emphasizes the need for such training, adding that research has a lot of useful outcomes that can help improve the health and general services of countries.
Scientifically and ethically sound clinical research requires a robust system of regulatory and research ethics oversight. That's why, Ministry of Health actually reached out to WHO, and then the WHO also responded quickly. I think from the interaction happened recently with Honorable Minister. Then we are here. I think it's last June, the first interaction, and the WHO responded quickly, and we have a team of experts here with us to help us, navigate through the challenge that we are having regarding research.
Dr. Babandin Sabali, Deputy Permanent Secretary Technical at the Ministry of Health, on behalf of the Minister, thanked WHO for their oversight in organizing such important capacity-building training for health researchers. According to him, discussions to have this training started in June of last year, when the Minister of Health visited Geneva. And today, the Ministry is delighted that the training is being held. He then talked about the WHO's benchmarking tool.
WHO benchmarking tools is an important tool that will help us to ascertain where we are in terms of our readiness to safeguard those rights of the subjects. As we go through it, we'll be able to know where we are in terms of our weaknesses, our strengths, and opportunities available for us. Therefore, I implore all of us to take our time and to be very fair to the system and to be right to the core in terms of assessing ourselves so that we'll know where we are and we're able to come out with strategies to address the weaknesses in the system.
Professor Andres Rice, Head of Ethics and Governance Unit of Research for Health WHO Geneva, and Seni Sane, Director of Health Research at the Ministry of Health, respectively, reiterated that the event will provide an opportunity for the health sector to better understand its research landscape and suggest improvements. As critical stakeholders involved in research gather over the next 2 days, it is hoped that their capacities will be built to be able to develop and improve on the gaps and challenges hindering the development of research ethics, governance, and oversight in the Gambia. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
The Oyster Valley Stakeholder Advisory Committee held a day-long market study validation on the Gambia program for the sustainable development of fisheries and aquaculture value chains. Momodu Gajaka tells us more.
The Oyster Stakeholder Advisory Committee meeting looks at the Fish for ACP program to enhance the fisheries value chain and aquaculture. The organizers have various aims they would like the meeting to achieve. To share an update on activities started ongoing, being supported by Fish for ACP. Share the project activities linked with Oyster VC, which Oscar like to share amongst other aims. Khadija Tujalo, FAO National Professional Officer and Fish for ACP Project Coordinator, explains.
This committee is a platform for dialogue, coordination, and exchange of experience and knowledge between actors in the oyster sector, and to promote and contribute to the sustainable development of the mangrove oyster value chain. So this committee, as you all know, it's not only going to be limited to the project, but it'll go beyond the project cycle.
The Stakeholders Advisory Committee includes Departments of Fisheries, Water Resources and National Assembly Matters, Tri-Oyster Women Association, harvesters, and other institutions. As part of the value chain for the oyster sector production, there are 4 key components in the upgrading strategy. These are improving oyster resource and mangrove ecosystem monitoring and management, develop new and improved aquaculture methods, market development for oyster and oyster byproduct, and improving working conditions. Babanding Kanye, the Senior Fisheries Officer, Focal Point, Fish for ACP, Oyster Value Chain Project, spoke on behalf of the fisheries sector.
The importance of the fisheries sector cannot be overemphasized, as it plays a pivotal role in food security and nutrition for the population. It is the second largest food provider after agriculture and livestock, and the main supplier of animal protein in the diets of most Gambians. The sector is a critical entry point for poverty alleviation in the Gambia. It serves as a source of revenue and foreign exchange earnings in the country. The sector also contributes significantly to employment creation, livelihood opportunities, and income generation, particularly for the women and youth.
The expected outcomes of the meeting are as follows: to increase the Oyster Value Chain Advisory Committee members' ownership on the strategy by their active participation and steering its implementation. The meeting also validated activities to be implemented during the 6 months, amongst others. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more local and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
The Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, will hold the 6th edition of the Taxpayers Appreciation and Award Ceremony on Saturday, March 2nd, 2024. Oh yes, the awards is dedicated to our esteemed and valued taxpayers who consistently pay their taxes and duties on time, file their tax returns on time, present authentic and original customs documents, and comply with relevant provisions of the revenue laws. The ceremony will be graced by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, Cabinet Ministers, senior government officials, members of the business community, and development partners. A memorable night is assured in this year's award ceremony, which will take place on Saturday, March 2nd at the Kairaba Beach Hotel, commencing at 7:30 p.m. GRA is your GRA. GRA is our GRA, collecting revenue for national development. Tobacco Control Act 2016 came into force in December 2018. Section 9 of the Act gives every person the right to a tobacco smoke-free environment, and a person consuming a tobacco product shall ensure that he or she does not expose another person to tobacco smoke. The Tobacco Control Act 2016 prohibits smoking, including the use of shisha in public places, workplaces, and public transports. A person shall not smoke in any part of any public place, workplace, or public transport and within 100 meters of such place. These places include hotels, restaurants, bars, office buildings, schools, garages, prisons, police cells, video clubs, and public service vehicles, among others. Any person responsible for a public place, workplace, or public transport shall ensure the observance of this section. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Management Sciences for Health.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV Nightly News. 18th to 24th November each year is World Antimicrobial Awareness AMR Week. In commemoration of the event, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the WHO, organized a symposium on Thursday on AMR and launched the Gambia's AMR's Technical Working Group. Loli M. Kamara reports.
Due to various logistical challenges, November's commemoration was delayed until this February. Antimicrobial resistance, AMR, happens when microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, viruses, and parasites develop the ability to continue to grow, even when they are exposed to antimicrobial medicines that are meant to kill them or limit their growth, such as antibiotics, antifungals, antivirals, and antimalarials. As a result, the medicines become ineffective and infections persist in the body, increasing the risk of spreading to others. The week is commemorated to improve awareness and understanding of antimicrobial resistance, and the theme for 2024 remains the same as 2023 and is preventing antimicrobial resistance together, focusing on the urgent actions needed to stop antimicrobial resistance. The WHO country rep, Dr. Desta Turini, says AMR, one of the most serious health threats facing humanity, is a global campaign to raise awareness and understanding of AMR and promote best practices among health stakeholders to reduce the emergency and the spread of drug-resistant infections.
It's estimated that bacterial AMR is directly responsible for 1.27 million global deaths in 2019 and contributed to another 4.95, almost 5 million deaths also in the same year.
Momodu Tinyasi, the Deputy Director of Health Services at the Ministry of Health, says in recent years, AMR has become one of the biggest health threats around the world, yet most people know very little about it. Mr. Nyasi also talked about the seriousness of the misuse of antibiotics, which in most cases is linked to the emergency and spread of microorganisms. He further spoke about the easy access and misdiagnosis of antibiotics and what measures needed to be adopted to control the problem.
More strengthened surveillance system to identify and track the emergence and spread of resistant microorganisms. This includes improving laboratory capacity, data collection, and sharing of important information between countries.
AMR facilities are limited in sub-Saharan Africa, including the lack of expertise, resources, thus requiring capacity building. Babandi Sabali is the Deputy Permanent Secretary Technical at the Ministry of Health.
Government of the day has put in place certain measures and strategies that will ensure that AMR is controlled. One key thing is the development of the standard treatment guideline. Will ensure that drugs are optimally prescribed as when required.
This annual theme being commemorated calls for cross-sectorial collaboration to preserve the effectiveness of antimicrobials and to effectively reduce AMR. All sectors must use antimicrobials prudently and appropriately, take preventive measures to decrease the incidence of infections, and follow good practice in disposal of antimicrobial contaminated waste. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
The world's most famous carnival is Brazil's annual carnival. What many in West Africa may not know is that there are two much closer to us that are just vibrant and colorful. One is in Guinea-Bissau, which over the weekend celebrated the country's main annual cultural festival, which brought together the country's various ethnic groups while attracting spectators from across the sub-region and beyond. More in this report by Ansumana Esonyasi.
The Carnival is an annual cultural exhibition of Guinea-Bissau's rich culture. Renewed and enriched year after year, the event showcases the unbridled joie de vivre of the local population. And as participants from various cultural groups from across the country gather in the capital Bissau, jugglers, artists, and fire eaters compete as drums enliven the dances of young dancers dressed in raffia skirts and bras made from coconuts. Foreign guests such as Lushita from Germany and Ali Delgado Kanute, a Senegalese national who attended this year's carnival, stressed the need to preserve our culture and went on to share the excitement and experience.
It's such a special carnival. I've seen a lot of carnivals in Europe, but it's so different because it's so cultural. All the outfits, I see that they make it like from very simple things, but really creative outfits. And the dances, music is really nice.
It's my first time. I love it. I love the culture. I love the energy. It's an amazing experience.
Okay.
No, I think the culture is very diverse. I love the variety of age groups, genders, boys, girls involved. It's an spectacular experience. Okay.
Omar Kujabi, CEO of Gambia Nice Brand, and Basamba Drame are two of many Gambians who attended this year's Bissau Carnival. And as they also speak of the importance of preserving our culture, they highlight how culture can be used to promote peace across the sub-region.
Yeah, it's about culture because society if you can get displaced and culture be hamga. Sen diangam different hamga culture. New fini kune kam get so just na fi poli just na fi so say hamga just na fi yenen. So it's very nice. Hamga moko attend last year. It was very nice. So this year make sure na ko feke tamit.
Like over time, culture will disappear as generation come by. We have to make sure we have a platform where we preserve, so we can preserve our culture. It's important. So Guinea-Bissau has been going on since independence, since before independence. So even after independence, they continue, showcasing their culture. So they continue showcasing the actual reality of their lives.
Guinea-Bissau may be small, but it is rich in culture, language, and religion. The Bissau Carnival also features an incredible mix of African and Portuguese culture. Every year, participants and spectators from across West Africa would join Bissau nationals in what has become one of the continent's most popular international cultural exhibitions. In addition to the street parades, the carnival also has competitions, with prizes given for the best group performance and mask and a carnival queen. Antoine Sonyasti for KTV News.
We'll now shift our attention to news outside the country. In yet another attempt to bring to an end the ongoing political crisis in Senegal, ECOWAS representatives at the opening session of the ongoing Executive Council meeting at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa have expressed plans to hold a special session on Senegal.
This latest development comes in the wake of a statement issued by the regional bloc calling for an immediate solution to the crisis. Calls that were also amplified by the AU Special Rapporteur for Human Rights and Access to Information and the Commissioner for Human Rights in Senegal, who in a joint letter urged President Sall to protect the rights to information of Senegalese citizens. This follows an internet shutdown after protests erupted in various parts of the country following his election cancellation. However, the announcement of a special session on the political crisis in Senegal has been described by analysts as the strongest indication by the international community, particularly the AU and ECOWAS, to swiftly resolve the crisis in Senegal to avert a degeneration of the current situation. The regional bloc's chairperson, Nigeria's President Tinubu, postponed his expected visit to Dakar on Monday, following violent protests by opposition supporters over the weekend. On Tuesday, the UN also issued a statement calling on authorities in Senegal to uphold the country's long-standing tradition of democracy and respect for human rights. And while we await the bloc's decision after the scheduled special session, the political situation in Senegal remains tense. Antoine Sonyasi for KTV News.
Also in international news, delegates from around the world gathered in Panama City for the 10th World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, known as WHO-FCTC. Julian Jai reports.
The objective of the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, WHO-FCTC, is to protect present and future generations from the devastating health, social, environmental, and economic consequences of tobacco consumption and exposure to tobacco smoke. This is the first in-person COP since 2018, with earlier meetings held remotely because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Andrina Blanco Maquizo, the head of the Secretariat of the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, said that in the past 20 years, tobacco prevalence among adults has declined. However, she warned of the dangers the industry poses for the environment. The World Health Organization also warned last year that many countries facing food security issues were also big tobacco growing economies. Some 8 million people die each year from tobacco use worldwide. The latest global tobacco report estimates that There are at least 37 million children aged 13 to 15 currently using some form of tobacco, with alarming levels of e-cigarettes used among adolescents in some countries. Tobacco consumption is an addiction. Tobacco has nicotine, which is a highly addictive product and addictive as illegal drugs, and the fact that it's legal doesn't make it any less addictive, Dr. Makizo said. The conference decided to strengthen the article of the framework focused on the protection of the environment and the health of all people. Another important decision was taken to strengthen guidelines on cross-border tobacco advertising, promotion and sponsorship, and the depiction of tobacco in the entertainment media. In addition, 2 expert groups were established, one to work on forward-looking tobacco control measures and the other to focus on liability. Other decisions adopted by COP10 were related to the promotion of human rights through the WHO FCTC, as well as the strengthening of the WHO FCTC Investment Fund. The parties also agreed to extend by 5 years the mandate of the Global Strategy to Accelerate Tobacco Control 2019-2025, advancing sustainable development through the implementation of the WHO FCTC 2019-2025, so that it fully aligns with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. COP10 also adopted the Panama Declaration. During the summit, which ended on Saturday, representatives from 142 parties tackled a range of issues, including the regulation of tobacco advertising. In the Gambia, efforts have been made in enforcing the Tobacco Control Act regulations. 6 people were arrested within the Kanifing municipality 2 weeks ago by the Tobacco Control Act Enforcement and Regulation Task Force. The Tobacco Control Act came into force in December 2018, immediately banning smoking in public places and tobacco advertising, promotion and sponsorship, including the sale of single sticks of cigarettes. For QTV News, I am Julden Yai.
That's all we have for you in this bulletin. Focus on Africa is next, but join us at 10 p.m. for another news bulletin. Thanks for watching.